Hello again, it's Restaurant Review time, and I'm your host, Bob Bockelman. We are here every Saturday, as you know, bringing to you what we feel is New Orleans' newest and finest restaurants, their chefs, and some great new musical guests. Two of the restaurants and rhythms of New Orleans, important things that are so important to our economy, to our lifestyle, and we've been doing it for 4 years now. If you haven't caught us before, but we welcome you. We hope you like it and come back to us. We have some exciting news to tell you today too, as well. So hopefully I'll be able to get it all in. As you know, we've had a kind of a dry spell with regard to live musical guests for you, and we've been going back to our archives. Today we have to do the same, but I want to tell you that I've gotten a new musical guest next week. Not sure about the restaurant yet, so if we're not here, watch for us the following week, and we'll be back with live musical again. That's the important thing. We got to keep both those elements to keep all of our viewers happy. But today, we do have, thank goodness, the greatest part of our program, the restaurant. We have a great new restaurant, only a few weeks old, and it's right up there on Magazine Row, folks. How many restaurants can they put on Magazine? Well, we're glad they do. It's a great, great row for restaurants and making the community thrive in all of its areas. But let's do this. Before we get too head over our heel in the restaurant, let's go ahead and listen to our musicians. We've got a little musical group today, and they're called Hanging Daisy. So we'll see you after they finish and tell you about our new restaurant. Let's listen to Hanging Daisy.
At least one friend, and how many do I have? Who are you, and how many times have you lied to me? If the bottle rock's empty, just open another. As far as I'm growing was good, and as the night slips away, I am grounded. There's a select few I select to and one you, whose flowers are growing this year. My heart escapes my mind. Could you close the blinds? I have been there before.
Well, that was an interesting little combo, huh? It was a combination of classical, a little bongos, and some folk. That really was very pleasant. I've forgotten what that group sounded like, so we're pleased that we brought them back to you. So even I can't see if you haven't seen them. I know I haven't seen them, so hopefully you'll enjoy them. We've got 2 more songs from them coming up later. But let's go ahead and get on with the show, because that's the key. You know that we, as I mentioned, got a brand new restaurant for you, Uptown, as I mentioned, on Magazine. And the name of the restaurant is the Nile Cafe. And we're pleased to have today the general manager and head chef, Mr. Chuck TROUPE. Welcome to the show.
Hello. How you doing?
Tell us a little bit about how long have you all been open now?
We've been open about 2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks, so we're really in there early. Now, y'all are at 3100 Magazine. What's the corner street?
That would be 8th and Magazine.
8th and Magazine. If you, like I, live uptown and for years have passed what was probably one of the few empty lots, if not the only empty lot on Magazine Street, and have seen it develop into a beautiful new building, well, you also know where the Nile Cafe is. This is directly across from, I believe it's the St. Vincent orphanage apartments that became condos X number of years ago. So it's down there a little bit past Louisiana, between Louisiana and Washington on the riverside. A beautiful new building. You're going to get to see some of the pictures we talked about. What's the advantage of this restaurant is that it's on the corner and a bottom floor, and it has beautiful French windows running the entire length of each side. So you know how us New Orleanians and just human nature love to have a window seat and a view. Well, almost 2/3 of the restaurant have that, so that really makes it nice. The Nile Cafe is owned by Sally and Abdul Idrisu, excuse me for that. And they have really, both really done their best to really open a great new restaurant for you. Now, they're calling it a Mediterranean restaurant, and so right away you say, oh, well, we've got a lot of Mediterranean restaurants, Bob's, and that's true. What's really unique about this restaurant is that although and some of the ones you'll see today are traditionally Mediterranean, which is all down by the Nile, by both Jerusalem and those parts, all of those dishes will be on the menu. But what's really unique is the husband owner is from Algiers, and so Algeria, excuse me, not Algiers, across the lake, right next to Morocco. And the wife is both Parisian and Algerian. And we're going to be emphasizing in today's show that Moroccan or Algerian type of food, which you won't be able to find much around the city at all. So that's what's neat about it. We want you to lure you with these. If you don't like it or you're not adventurous, then you can try the old standbys that everyone has. But you'll see it in a great new upbeat restaurant style. Anything else? Let's talk a little bit about the size of the restaurant and hours of operation, days you close, etc.
Okay. Well, the restaurant's about 2,300 square feet. We're open from 11 in the morning till 11 in the evening. Sorry.
Wow, straight through. We like that.
Right now we don't have outside seating, but we're working on putting that in.
That'll be lovely addition.
We're going to have tables all around the corner of 8th and Magazine. We seat about 64 inside. We have an open kitchen, therefore you can see everything that's being prepared.
That's become very popular since the Emerald, I guess, expose. And what else? How about days? What days are you open?
We're open 7 days a week.
No rest for the weary.
No rest.
So we're sorry we had to pull Chef away from the restaurant today. And he said it was getting pretty busy when he left. Fortunately, the owners are there who also cook to help saddle the duties along with the fine wait staff. But fortunately, he was Chuck was kind enough to come to bring to you all a really great restaurant. And we want to tell you, which we promised you at the beginning of the season, which we used to do a while back, that you know how we love for you to call in, because the chef always likes to entertain any question about his restaurant. That, of course, we don't allow that many calls, maybe 2 or 3. If you do, the restaurant has something special for you, so make sure you tell our director who handles those calls for you, give them your full name and your phone number, because we're going to be calling you after the show to let you know how nice this generous restaurant has done to entice you and lure you to come on to the restaurant. So that gives you a good incentive to call in. But let's hold the calls for a while. Let's get through some of the menu, and then we'll be glad to take those calls. Well, Chef, anything else we need to talk about the restaurant before we start showing the folks some of the great food you're preparing?
Well, I believe we're trying to go for more of a home feel and a family environment. We don't want it to be stuffy or anything like that. Very casual. Anyone welcome. Anyone welcome. We like our staff to be very friendly and knowledgeable about our food, and that's about it. And
well, that's great. Well, of course, hospitality is the name of the game, and of course, casual is the lifestyle, especially for us here down in New Orleans and with the upcoming tremendous heat of summer. So we can appreciate all that you're trying to bring to us. But with that, let's go ahead and start with our usual where we start, and that's our appetizers, and take a look at some of the great-looking appetizers you're serving. Now, again, we only look around 3 of each category, and we'll talk if we have time about some of the others. But the first one, which is really, to me, the appetizer of the house, is your combination plate. This plate gives you a sample of everything that is normal in the entrees. Now, it is so large that it's divided into 3 plates, folks. We're looking at the main plate right now, and let's go ahead and discuss this, and we'll tell you about the other accompaniments. Let's tell them all the stuff that's on this plate.
This plate has tabbouleh, falafel, kibbe. Kibbe is a bulgur wheat, cracked bulgur wheat stuffed with.
Well, let's do one by time. Let's start one by time. So you started with the tabbouleh. Tabbouleh is the green-looking stuff with the red tomatoes, which some people call salad. I understand that has bulgur wheat, cracked wheat. Was it parsley? Let's go over the ingredients. That's a wonderful, refreshing salad.
Parsley, green onions, tomatoes. We have our own special dressing for it, which I can't tell you all the secrets.
No. Now, what about? Let's move along the plate. The next thing looks like a small sweet potato. That's not that. That is kibbe. Is that not right?
That is kibbe, sir.
Tell people what kibbe is, please.
Kibbe is cracked wheat stuffed with pine nuts.
Pine nuts, great.
Ground lamb and beef, and certain Arabic spices, which is well, let's just say it has a cinnamon flavor to it that is more savory than sweet, which most Americans are used to, and it's in a different form.
Right, it is very good with the lamb, and then of course it is deep fried, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's move on to the next, which is presumably falafel. That's your 3 meatball-looking stuff, huh?
That would be falafel, yes.
Tell us about that.
It's ground chickpeas and vegetables with spices, garlic, that sort of thing, and then we fry it.
Deep fried as well.
Yeah.
And last but not least, our 2 cigars. Tell us what those are. I know most people recognize that if they've eaten any Mediterranean food.
Stuffed grape leaves, which is stuffed with rice, vegetables, and ground meat.
Really what a great combination for everyone at your table. Now let's go on and look now. We've got 2, like I said, besides this platter, come 2 separate accompaniments that are standard in the Mediterranean region. So let's take a look at the next one, which I believe is your hummus. Is that right, your hummus plate?
Yes, sir.
Can you describe what a hummus plate is?
Hummus plate is chickpeas pureed. We like to keep a very creamy consistency with ours, so it's not chunky or anything, but we don't want the taste to be lost in that process. So we take a lot of care and time into that product just to make it so it has zing to it, but it doesn't lose its flavor, but keeps creaminess.
Yeah, so there it is, folks. There's a good look at it. So that's beautifully served, and as you said, which is really good. A lot of times you will get kind of chunky paste consistency. It should be really almost pureed, not liquid, but so soft. and then of course that's floating virgin olive oil. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And then this is usually, of course, either eaten with pita bread, pita slices, and
Yes.
stuff, which is very standard. Now, in addition to hummus, which, like I say, is a basic staple of food, the next dish you'll see is what we call baba ganoush. Now, that looks a lot like the hummus paste, but it has a little bit of a gray color, and that's because it's used eggplant. Is that right? Tell us
Right.
about that one.
It's baked eggplant pureed with tahini, salt, pepper, and a few other things in there. That also comes with the extra virgin olive oil.
Now these, of course, you can order these dishes independently, any of these sides that we're talking about, these appetizers, because they are, a lot of people will like sub and not anything else. But this is a great sampler plate. If you've never tried it or you're bringing some new guests, this is a great way for them to pick and choose and find out the things they really like, because there you're hitting certainly the most staples of all the Mediterranean food. Now again, this dish, even though we're doing a great job here, is standard, and you'll find that at many of the other Mediterranean restaurants. So this is not per se the Moroccan stuff we talked about. This is truly right along the Nile, the general Mediterranean food, which is excellent, and we want to picture you a little bit of both so you'll see the extent of the situation. Now the next thing is really something unusual and lovable, and kind of American style, but it's mini lamb pizza. And let's talk about that, because this was truly enjoyable and different. And it's a gourmet size, so it's perfect for 1 or 2 people, or again, as an appetizer for 4. Tell us what great ingredients we got on here.
We have ground lamb, tomatoes, mushrooms, onions, feta cheese, and extra virgin olive oil, topping it off with parsley.
And served on, is it actually pizza dough? It's almost focaccia, or is it a...
No, it's an Arabic pita bread.
Pita bread. It is a pizza. I thought it was a pizza, but it's close enough to be almost identical to pizza dough, folks. Flavor here is really good. So if you like, now again, it does have lamb, so not everybody's used to lamb, but this is a great way to try it, because there's enough other ingredients so that if your lamb seems a little strong for you, this will balance it off. I don't think you'll have a problem with it all. I think it's something that's fun. The kids will like it as well as the adults. So don't hesitate to try this as an appetizer. Or right now, this would be great at lunchtime, maybe with a little salad or even a soup or something. And this would really be a great light lunch for someone. Okay, now our last appetizer we're showing is called a spinach pie. Really a very delicate appetizer. We've got a couple of pictures of this. Talk about this, and we got a close-up in a little bit. Tell us the kind of crust. It's not a croissant, but what kind of bread dough is this, please?
It's a handmade bread dough. It's more of a Middle Eastern, as opposed to most people think of spinach pie as spanakopita, which would be more Greek.
Right.
With the phyllo dough. This is
right. No,
Middle
this is
Eastern,
not that.
and it's a bread dough.
It is a bread dough.
Yeah.
And you can see there's the stuffing. We show it's plied with spinach, but the dough is definitely, it's not like the phyllo bread. It's not that flaky kind of consistency. It's not like a croissant, but it's got a very gentle, nice flavor. So this is something you might want to consider. Again, we're only talking about 3 of the appetizers right now. I think he has about 7 or 10, maybe even more. Some of those, we've, like I say, on that main combo are served or featured individually. But what we'll do is, if we have time, we'll come back to these. But we want to move along within our time constraints. And don't forget, folks, let's hear from you, because we get that special treat from you today. Don't forget to give us a call and give us your name and your phone number. Leave it with the director so we can get back to you. But let's move on. Now, we love to see soups and salads, and one of the staple soups of Arab or Mediterranean cooking is I call it Addis, A-D-D-A-S. That is the normal thing for lentil soup. And there's a lot of different ways to do lentil soup. One of my favorites has been spinach. To date, I've not had this combination. And I'm going to wait till he tells you about it, but I'm going to put my 2 cents. Tell us how your lentil soup is different, and anything you want to say about that beautiful golden look.
It's a red lentil soup, but we make it so it's smooth and not like chunky. Also, it's got a curry flavor to it, turmeric and cinnamonish, and just a different kind of curry flavor. We also put labna in there, which is a Lebanese cream cheese or yogurt, and it's got a little spiciness to it also.
Definitely has the New Orleans kick, folks. This is what we like. So the combination of the curry really bringing an additional flavor to it, and then the labna or the yogurt that dollop really adds another dimension to it. So if you've tried red lentil, and red lentils are fantastic. You know, there's yellow, the brown, and red lentils. If you've tried the red lentil soup before, try it here. I think you'll really like it. It is one of my favorites, and I'm always anxious to try different ways, whether it's vegetarian or, as I mentioned, with spinach or other seasonings. This is brings it to a whole new level by putting the curry and also the yogurt in. It adds a great new flavor. Now let's look at a couple of salads. You know, this is whenever we talk about Mediterranean, we always have a Greek salad because Greeks are just part of that community as well on the Mediterranean. And they've got a beautiful one here. Let's take a look at this beautiful Greek salad. Tell us the basic ingredients we've got in there.
Basically, we only use leaf lettuce in the restaurant. We don't use romaine or anything. We like that light, fluffy leaf lettuce.
Great.
Feta cheese, our own secret dressing, of course. Black olives, cucumbers. That's about it.
Truly, truly a wonderful dish for right now. So if you like Greek salads, oh really, it's very similar to a regular salad except for the wonderful feta. And I forgot, do you put any yogurt or do you serve it in yogurt on this?
No.
Some people put a little yogurt. I'm sure if you ask for it, they'll be glad to give it to you. Mm-hmm. But the wonderful Kalamata olives and the freshness of the ingredients, like you said, they're not just your regular lettuce. This is what's so cool about it because it's not just every one of those salad, typical lettuce and tomato salad with a few accompaniments. Totally different taste. So try the Greek salad. I think you'll really find it enjoyable. And now there's another one, and this is really hitting on some of the basic, again, Mediterranean food. And that is called a chicken shawarma Caesar. Now, that's a lot to talk about there, a mouthful, but so is the deliciousness. Now, shawarma is a methodology of cooking meat. Lamb, chicken, and beef are actually on a spigot or a spit, and they are roasted, but what's so unusual is they're roasted vertically. Instead of, we have our little barbecue pits and it's a horizontal spit that we have going out there. This is vertical, and usually the meat is sliced down from the top to the bottom in the serving. What's really cool about having an open restaurant, and not you don't see this in any of the other Mediterranean restaurants, is you actually get to feel like you're part of the soup. You actually see the chef. You'll see the rotisserie going, whether they're cooking. They have two of them spits, whether it's talking about the chicken or whether they're doing the lamb or the beef. And then you'll actually see them slice it. And there's nothing better than getting that first slice because we're talking about the moistest tender meat that you've ever tried. Can you elaborate a little bit more on shawarma per se? And then we'll go into the details of that salad.
Like you said, shawarma is a vertical spit. But the key to working with the shawarma spit is the marinades that you use and the different spices. We marinate our chicken breasts for at least 24 hours minimum in different things like yogurt, which has a nice fat content. Mm-hmm. Therefore, it keeps the meat nice and juicy when it's on the spit. It also has a bunch of different spices: turmeric, cinnamon, Arabic 7-spice, that sort of thing. And when it comes off, it's shaved, and it just gives it such a nice texture, and it stays very juicy and moist. It's one of my favorites.
Now, do you have the skin? I don't believe this. Is the skin on the chicken still?
Yes, these breasts are skin on.
Well, it really is. Of course, that even adds to the moisture of it. But it's so lightly. It's not like battered chicken or anything. Mm-hmm. We're talking about some of the most tender, moist, and flavorful. And the color, you can tell a little bit from this picture, but in person, it's one of the most golden browns you've ever seen. It really is a magnificent coloring. And then pouring it with a traditional Caesar salad really is a great combination because this is totally a dinner entree salad nowadays. There's nothing wrong with eating one of those for your lunch or your dinner because it's totally filling. And now let me ask a question. Can you also have the substitute like a lamb or a beef shawarma salad, or is it just a chicken?
Sure. There's no problem with that at all.
Well, again, if you want to go in one of the darker meats to try it, in case you're a fanatic, you're going to see in a minute in one of the entrees, because we'll start the entrees next, what all three look like when they're actually been made into what we call kebabs. You'll know about kebabs, I'm sure. But the key here, folks, is that you're talking about very, very fresh, and that's the emphasis of the owners. They don't want to keep like their soups every day. They do not want to. They have some left over. They're either going to throw it out or give it to second harvest or something like that, or they're not going to be reheating things every day. So they're trying their best to measure the right doses so they don't make too much extra, but at the same time, even if they do, they're not planning on reheating it the next day. So you're getting the freshest ingredients every day in all of your food, and that is important in every line of cooking, but especially here in this particular group. All right, now let's take a look at, again, some of the entrees. Now, before we get to the truly Moroccan stuff that we promised, we can take a look at one more Mediterranean-style dish. And this is really a combination kebab platter. As we mentioned, for kebabs, if everyone knows about a shish kebab, we've heard about that for years, and that's usually some type of meat on a skewer with vegetables and then grilled. Well, here we've got a couple of pictures, even a close-up, of 3 different types of meat on a skewer, on a wooden skewer that have been grilled. As you notice, you can see the chicken laying there across that beautiful golden chicken shawarma or kebab, as we talked about, and there's beef and lamb. When you see the second close-up picture, we'll show you a little close-up of the meat. But again, this meat is on the skewers and then grilled, or how are we doing it, right? Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Are all of the meats, again, marinated like we do with shawarma?
Yes,
that's what I thought.
Not the same marinades. Each marinade's different. Shawarma is its own. We have our own marinade specifically for the shawarma.
But you do have. I could taste the ones I taste. Definitely taste like all of this meat had been marinated or something.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now you notice that, folks, they also have a great accompaniment with that. Is first of all, a little cup of white is yogurt, which is very traditional.
That's our garlic sauce, which is.
Oh, it's a garlic sauce?
It's a very spicy, heavy garlic.
Well, I didn't even try that. I thought it was yogurt.
No.
Well, there you go, folks. Now that is great for New Orleans. A garlic sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So heavy garlic. So that, with the way we love garlic down here, that's a great dipping sauce. So I should have known better. I didn't try it because I said, well, let me keep going. But notice it's also on a magnificent saffron rice. Tell us about your rice. The golden rice that also adds to the color.
Actually, it's not a saffron rice.
I said saffron. I knew it was wrong.
It's a sweated basmati rice.
Basmati.
Yeah, we sweat it in oil, and we cook it off with a little bit of turmeric and a few other things in there.
It comes with that same color, the golden saffron color. So you do it wonderful. And really, it is mild. Basmati rice, for those who haven't tried it, is definitely the best rice available. I can testify. I mean, there's some even from the Himalayas. In the old days, they only could find them in the Himalayas. Now they're growing them, I believe, in the United States. I think Texas or someplace. But talk about some of the most flavorful, but yet not overpowerful rice. Individual grains, really delicate flavors. And then notice that once again on the side, besides, they do have accompaniment of hummus, which is, again, your ordinary standard staple that comes with your platter. So this is a great platter. If you like skewered meat, this is on, and you've got a hearty appetite, like I do, of course. This is a perfect entree. Now, we're going to skip ahead. What we want to do now is, like I say, because when we have time, we're going to come back and talk about some of the other basic dishes that come from the Mediterranean region by the Nile. But we want to move across the top of the Nile over to Algeria and Morocco and take a look at some of the signature dishes of this restaurant. We've got 4 that are listed that are really knockouts for you folks. And the first one is actually called an artichoke, what is it? Lamb stew. I always get it in mistitled. Let's take a look at it. Don't be mistaken, this is not a soup. It looks like a soup broth, and I even asked, should this be served with rice? They said, no, it's not, but totally filling. It has. Let's talk about what are the ingredients in this great lamb stew.
Basically, it's boneless lamb, peas, artichokes, and a savory broth. Miss Salima, the owner's wife, this is one of her Algerian favorites. It comes from their background.
She does the artichoke bottoms, which is hard, of course, because of their weight, usually sink the bottom. If you notice, she puts extra. They use lemon, a wonderful citrus flavor, and put some lemon bitters and lemon rind inside to give additional flavoring. But if you look right to the side of one, you'll see the bottom, part of the artichoke bottoms, loaded with green peas, and to me, a great flavor. This is a hearty stew. It's not going to be the thick stew that, you have the American or Irish stew. It doesn't have that thickness of the broth, but flavor is just tremendous. And like I say, I would order the side of basmati rice or even white rice on the side. If you want to go ahead and put it in like New Orleanians do it, no one's going to object to it. But at the same time, it is quite filling like this, and just highly, highly recommended. If you like the taste of stew, and again, the lamb is extremely delicate, so it really has a wonderful flavor, but a good consistency. It'll be great for the fall. If you say, oh, no, Bob, that's not good for me for now, and the summer's too hot, wait till the fall, you come begging for it. Okay, now, another one which is the most traditional dish of Morocco, and that is couscous. This is a combination of a lot of stuff that is so flavored. This is actually served couscous and kebabs. Couscous by itself is normally a vegetarian dish, and a lot of our audience out there are vegetarians. And we've talked about a lot of vegetable dishes already, which are very good in the Mediterranean diet. But let's talk about this particular plate, because it's not only most spectacular from a color, but also a taste. Let's talk about, first of all, the couscous itself, and then we'll elaborate about the kebabs that have been basically unskewered and put into the dish.
Well, we use a medium-sized couscous, and in America,
what is couscous for the layperson?
It's a type of cracked wheat product.
Okay.
Normally, in the American style, if anybody makes couscous, they boil it. But
Right.
through Salima and the owner's wife, they've taught me different ways and techniques of cooking couscous, which is steam. They steam it with different seasonings in the water, and it makes it really fluffy and nice.
Ah, very good. It does, folks. This is totally different, almost like rice, because it has got a fluff to it that really, and yet extremely soft. So really, that is a wonderful, wonderful idea. Now let's talk about all the other ingredients in it, including the kebabs.
Well, it has grilled lamb kebab with it also, as you said. But it comes with potatoes, carrots, green beans, in a very brothy sauce that's very nice.
So that's couscous by itself, if we want it
Yeah.
right. So that's what I'm saying. For the vegetarians, you can order couscous by itself without the chops, without the kebabs, and have a magnificent hearty meal. Totally, I mean, obviously a meal that's more than one, because we're talking about a quite filling dish. But it's just so beautiful with the great, great colors of the vegetables and the wonderful potatoes in it. This is peasant food, but peasant food at its best. So it's really good. Now let's talk about how you add the kebabs to it, because then you take the grilled lamb. Is it only lamb in this dish?
No, you could have your choice of lamb, chicken, or beef.
Okay. And it comes off the skewers with additional, like the peppers, it looks like those have been on the skewer,
Yes.
because of the grill.
Yes, sir.
All right, so that adding another level of vegetables. So that they're taking the grilled meats that we showed before with additional grilled vegetables and taking off the skewer and adding it to the dish. So we're talking about really a wonderful combination that to me is one of the heartiest dishes. And remember, folks, you won't be finding this at many of the other restaurants. In fact, fortunately, it's coming back to a couple of the restaurants that we've had on, but not all of them are Mediterranean. There was a French one further down on Magazine that does a couscous, and a couple of others, but it's very unusual to find it. So this is a dish we want you to try, to get used to, and you're going to recognize how good it is, even if it's not identical to what you've grown up with. So this is a great lead to the situation. All right, folks, we're talking with General Manager and Chef Chuck TROUPE of the Nile Cafe. It's been open only a couple of weeks. We were privileged to get in there right away on the 3100 Magazine, on the corner of Magazine and 8th Street. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
As we mentioned, has beautiful, beautiful French doors all around the perimeter of the restaurant, so everyone gets a great looking view looking outside. It might be a little different soon, because I understand they're getting a beautiful canopies to go right above the transom window to really make it look out even nicer. Inside, done in nice earth tone, beautiful murals, if we didn't see it early on, of the Mediterranean, the Nile, and Egypt, including some of the pyramids. So really adds to the authenticity of the restaurant. And we're really glad to have. So don't forget, give us a call. We're going to go, we still have a few more minutes, so we're going to go over some more of the menu items that we don't have pictures of. But don't forget, if you call in today, give your name and your phone number. We're going to call you, and there's a special treat this restaurant wants to give you. So I hope you'll take advantage of it. We'd love to hear from you. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at some of the other items, because as I mentioned, we've hit only a few of the dishes. Let's talk about the remaining. I know you have at least one or two more Moroccan dishes, even though we don't have pictures, and then we'll go back to the standard Mediterranean. And that is the mahajib. Mahajib. Wow, that's a mouthful. Tell us what mahajib is, please.
Mahajib is shrimp and tuna in a light pastry, and it's fried, and it comes on top of mixed greens. It's like a large dinner salad.
Okay,
also.
so wait, let's take this slow. Shrimp and tuna, and you fry both?
No, they're inside of a light pastry. It's a mixture. Of
the shrimp and tuna are in a pastry.
Yes.
Some kind of, is that like phyllo dough, or what kind of pastry?
It's
puff pastry?
I have problems with the translations.
Okay,
a
and what do you
on
do
that
with
one.
that?
It's a square, and we put it in the pastry, and we fry it, and it comes on top of mixed greens.
Okay, so that's what's fried. All right, and then you put it on top of mixed greens.
Yeah.
And what else?
That's basically the dish by itself.
Okay, that's the dish by itself.
Yeah, it's an Algerian favorite of the Idrissou family.
Well, that's great. So that's shrimp and tuna. That's two seafoods that are nice, because we haven't really had much. Well, that's one thing about, even though we talk about Mediterranean food, there's not a lot of seafood dishes.
No.
A lot of meat dishes and fowl and then vegetarian dishes. But here we also have seafood, so that would be great. Now let's go over a couple more of the Mediterranean, then we're going to go back in here our group, and hopefully we'll get some calls before the end of the day so you can take advantage of this great treat that we have. We talked about the different kebabs. You can have a chicken kebab by itself with a platter. And all of your platters like this come with what? Both rice and hummus?
Rice, hummus, and a salad.
Rice, hummus, and a
Every
salad.
plate
So it's a
comes
wonderful light dish. So you can have chicken, lamb, beef, or shrimp kebab. So there's another seafood.
We also have the kafta kebab.
Yeah, tell us kafta kebab. What is that?
Kafta kebab is ground beef and lamb together.
Wow.
Yeah, it has certain spices with it too.
And how do you? Oh, we do have a phone call. Let's take that before. Excuse me for interrupting, but let's see who's on the line, because we want to talk to them before we go to our musician. Welcome to the show. You're speaking with Chef Chuck and Bob. Who's on the phone, please? We still have our caller? Okay.
Okay.
Yes, who's this, please?
Yes, Bob.
Yes.
This is Todd St. Pay. How are you?
Oh, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's been a long time since I've called to
You
the
really
show,
have. It's been very long.
This has caught my attention today, and I have a question for Chuck.
Okay.
Chuck, I was in your restaurant maybe a week and a half ago. It was wonderful. It's a great addition to Magazine Street. But I did make a mistake because I ordered from the menu, and in uptown New Orleans, we have so many Middle Eastern restaurants right now, and we're really blessed to have such a variety of different cultures of the Middle East. However, I didn't realize you all were Moroccan and Algerian. And until I looked at the menu, then I saw couscous on it. Are there other, and I made the mistake not ordering, of course, are there other Algerian dishes that you have that are specific to Algeria or to Morocco?
Well, Todd, you might have been on the phone and maybe missed this part, but let me let Chuck go ahead and handle. We're in the entree section. We were specifically talking about the Moroccan and Algerian entrees.
Oh, good.
As we said, couscous. Why don't you tell them the other ones, Chuck?
We have mahajib, which is a light pastry filled with tuna and shrimp, which is fried, and then it comes with mixed greens. That's a very large Algerian favorite. Lamb and artichoke stew, which is straight from Algeria. A lot of these dishes Miss Salima would make for me before we got the restaurant going, and she would ask me, do you think this will work? Do you think that would work? And I would go, these are wonderful. I think they'll totally go over. And that's about it.
And this is not, Todd, this is the beginning of, as I mentioned, the place has just started. So what she wanted to do was she didn't want to inundate. She wanted to have the basics of Mediterranean and the others, because people would recognize that, since we, as you mentioned, have have so many, but at the same time for them to be adventurous, start trying. So she's going to be adding more and more like specials that are Moroccan and Algerian to the menu, and also on a daily basis. So, but on the menu right now we have these 3 dishes which he just mentioned: the couscous, which you heard about, the shrimp and wonderful artichoke bottom stew, not shrimp, excuse me, lamb and artichoke bottom stew, and then the mahagib, which is the seafood over the green vegetables.
Sounds delicious.
Anything else we can help you with?
Sounds very delicious, and I hope to go there very soon again.
Okay, don't forget to leave your name, and you already given us and your phone number with the director, because the restaurant has something for you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, thanks for calling, and don't wait so long in between calls.
Bye.
Okay, let's see now. I think, not sure by now whether it's time for our second song or whether we have a little time. We have back-to-back calls, so we want to take our callers first. Welcome to Restaurant Review. You're on the phone. You're speaking to Bob and Chuck Troupe of the Nile Cafe. Who's on the phone?
Dolores Francis.
Is that Miss? Say again, please.
Francis, F-R-A-N-C-I-S.
Francis, welcome. Have you called before?
No, I haven't.
I hadn't recognized your lovely voice.
Okay.
What can we answer for you?
Well, I was just wondering where your restaurant was located, because I called in kind of late.
Good. And we appreciate that, because many times a few callers that do call like late in the afternoon asking that, and we say, well, why? We really don't say it enough, and I appreciate that, because, again, we build up your appetite. If we don't tell you where it is, then how are you going to find it?
Right.
So you want to tell them where they are? I'll be glad.
3100 Magazine on the corner.
3100?
3100 Magazine on the corner of 8th Street. Do you know where that is?
Yes.
Okay, it's right. That's been a vacant lot for, I think he said, 20 years.
Uh-huh.
And finally they built this lovely new 2-story building, of which they occupy the down corner side. And as we mentioned, there's magnificent French windows on both sides, both Magazine and 8th Street, which run along which tables right outside, looking right outside. So really a great view.
Now, what's the name of your restaurant?
It's called the Nile Cafe.
The Nile Cafe.
Right. Now remember, they're open 7 days a week. From what are those hours again?
11 in the morning to 11 in the evening.
So straight on through, so you can eat.
7 to 7.
Excuse me?
7 to 7.
No, 11 to 11.
Oh, 11 to 11.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Not 7 in the morning. That's the only meal they're not doing. They're not doing breakfast, but the lunch and dinner is straight through. There's no change of menu prices. What you pay is the same price. It's very, very reasonable, but really quality food. Any other questions, dear?
That's it.
Well, don't forget to give the director your full name and phone number, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thanks for calling.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Again, we'll go real quickly through the rest of the menu before we get to and let the musician take over. We said about kebabs. We have shawarma, both chicken. And what is a gyro shawarma?
It's spiced
No, gyro.
Spiced lamb and beef.
The lamb and beef again. So it's like the kifta.
Yes.
Okay. And then the combo, oven roasted chicken. Now, how does oven roasted chicken? That's not shawarma. That's your traditional roasting of oven.
It's half chicken, yes.
Wow.
Or half chicken. Yeah.
And then cumin and lemon crusted fish. I didn't see that at all.
That's one of my favorites.
Wow. What, you use a standard type fish or fish of the week?
We use tilapia right now.
Okay.
I think things might change, and we might change that to a different Gulf fish of the day.
That would be great. And do you grill it or do you?
No, it's pan-seared.
Pan-seared?
Yeah.
Wow. And it's the whole fish or just
fillet? It's fillet. It's heavily crusted with cumin and pan-seared in a very hot pan. So it just really grabs a hold and pushes the flavor of the cumin through the fish.
That sounds great, folks. Hopefully, Todd, you listen to that, because I haven't seen that at any of the other Mediterranean restaurants. And then again, they have the meat stuffed grape leaves, which was the appetizer, give us entree, or veggie. Grape leaves, there's a kibbeh plate, a sauteed veggie plate, and a falafel plate. Well, we're going to skip those now because it is time to listen to our musicians, and we'll come back and go over that if necessary. But then we want to show you about some of the great desserts. So if you still want to call, you're welcome to. But let's go ahead and take a listen. Call on the other side of the musician. We're going to go ahead and listen to Hanging Daisy, and we'll see you when the song is finished.
won't hear me. Well, I'll never find you. You once were dear to me.
This is the first one.
Well, I'm gonna miss you, the friend not meant for me. Hushing you once, rushing you. I didn't hear you. Did you say something? And are you choking? You fish out of water. Well, all I can tell you is get back in. Get back.
Very nice. That was Hanging Daisy. We'll back one more call, one more song after this. But let's go ahead. I understand we're using the time up rapidly, so we want to do justice to the menu. Let's take a look at some of the desserts. They've got about 4, and we've got 3 of the picks. In fact, they got one new one that I made a little suggestion, hopefully, because it'll come down the tube. But we have a standard, really a Greek traditional dessert that's served all over the Mediterranean. That's called baklava. Hopefully you recognize that. It's always that wonderful phyllo dough, very, very soft, flaky, nice little oil. Tell us a little bit about baklava real quick.
Baklava is honey, walnuts, phyllo dough, and it's soaked in honey. We top ours with cracked pistachios and rose water simple syrup.
Great, very, very nice. I know you'll like that. I know you've probably tried it, but this is a different flavoring. Now here are 2 new ones that I've never had anywhere else. The first one is called Ashta.
Ashta,
ACHTA. So let's take a look. Now this is almost looks like a big dumpling, but let's tell us what's in this, please, Chuck.
This is a cream custard with rose water inside, wrapped in phyllo dough, and served warm with the rose water simple syrup on top also. It's large. It's something that you would really want to share with another person.
Oh, it's very large. But did you mention about the cream? Isn't there some type of cream on the inside?
Yes. It's a cream custard.
Cream custard.
On the inside.
Okay, and another one, which is one I can never remember the name, Kanata. Is that right?
Kunafa.
Kanafa. Let's take a look at kanafa. This is really, I thought this was wonderful, just a great look. I thought it was shaved coconut, but I was surprised to find out not. Tell us about this one, please, Chuck.
This is another cream-based dessert, and it's topped with shaved phyllo dough, pistachios, and it's served warm also.
Very, very nice. Now we got a rush through. Let's talk about beverages. One of the favorite things about Mediterranean food is besides your normal iced tea, they do lovely, lovely teas. They do a wonderful hot mint tea for the winter, or for us who drink hot teas all year round. But they also do Lebanese tea. Lebanese tea is, well, let me let you tell them. Go ahead, what is Lebanese tea for those who haven't seen it?
Lebanese tea is tea. It's made with rose water and pine nuts that add a little bit of extra flavor in there. It gives you a more perfumey type flavor.
Very
refreshing.
aromatic, but it's very unusual. It's so funny when people try it, if they don't know the taste, you can hear them trying to guess what it is. Not very many people know that unless they've tasted it before, have asked before about the rose water. The pine nuts is another thing. Somebody said, what are nuts doing in a drink? They're so soft, and again, the aroma and the flavor really add something nice. Now, they also have coffees, of course, and they have bottled water and soft drinks. Now, what about, and one of our callers offline asked, what about alcohol beverages? You want to tell us about that, please, Chuck?
We don't have liquor in our restaurant, but we have no problems with anyone bringing in wine or their own alcoholic beverages.
And no corkage fee, right?
We charge no corkage fee or anything for that.
Well, we're glad you do that because so many of our restaurants are following that policy. If they don't have a liquor license or not getting it, then they are at least allowing people to bring it because it is so important in today's world, especially the wine to supplement. And I know there's got to be some kind of Greek wines, if not some other type of vineyards that would go well with this food. So there you go. You heard it from the chef himself. You're welcome to bring your own vintage with you. Just tell your waitress at the door, and she'll, whether you need to chill it or not, and she'll serve it from there without any corkage fee. Okay. Well, we've run through the menu in the latter part. We're really glad for our callers, and we'll be calling you in a little while this afternoon. Hopefully you'll stay by your phone or have an answering machine. We want to tell you that if you email us, we'll also give you an opportunity from this restaurant. So don't forget our email. It's restaurantrevue@yahoo.com. That's restaurant, RESTAURANT, REVUE, one word. Restaurant Revue, not REVIEW, REVUE @yahoo.com. Drop us a line, and the restaurant's going to treat you all to something as well. So be on the lookout for that. If we get first one of emails that we get this week, and we'll be glad to let you know about it. The restaurant is really gracious in doing that, but wants to welcome itself into the community. So we've been talking to Chuck TROUPE, who is the general manager and one of the main chefs of the Nile Cafe. Brand new restaurant, beautiful new restaurant on the corner of Magazine and 8, 3100 Magazine on the Riverside, right across from the, I think it's St. Vincent's Orphanage. Not Ann Rice's place, not St. Elizabeth, St. Vincent's, I believe. But it's right down there between Louisiana and Washington, and it's a brand new building, but it looks like it's fitted there very, very well. Don't forget it's got those great, great French windows. Open 7 days a week from 11 till 11. So folks, whether you're a late luncher, an early diner, or a late diner, they've got you covered. This is great food. What's good about it, some of it is light, which you'll like for the summer or for your dietary things. The other is the nice, heavy consistency of food that really touches you to the bone with regard to family-style food. Done in a very casual atmosphere, and they're here to serve you. So we want you to please give them a try. That's the Nile Cafe. Okay, I want to tell you about next week. We have been promised a young friend of mine who started in the music business several years ago, backed away, and has come back, gave me a call, and wants to make an appearance on the show. This young man needs a lot of help with regard to his career. So right now we haven't gotten confirmation from our restaurant. I'm going to give it 2 more days. If they're not able to do it, you might have to see a rerun next week. If so, we will go ahead, and I apologize for that in advance, but you'll see one of our great shows. But coming back after that, we'll have enough music for two different shows from this young guy. We're going to help him try and put his little DVD together. So pardon us if we're not back next week, but we're going to do our darndest. If we do have the restaurant, then we'll put you live with him and do his 3 songs. So, and his name is Chip Abady. One other big comment, we're starting something we want to let you know about. We're going to be doing coffee tastings with cheese and pastry tastings combined. It's a great new concept, just like you do wine and cheese. Well, cheese has always been used in some of the European countries as desserts, but also desserts from either French or Italian. So we've got a whole great new concept that you can join us in person, and we'll be telling you about that as soon as we get the particulars on it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and let our musicians take us out. We hope to see you next week. If not, enjoy whatever show we brought to you, and we'll certainly see you live the following week if not. Have a great summer, and thanks for watching.
to bleed anymore. It's the love and it's the hate, trust the lack of faith, keep you guessing. Why should I care? Why should I care? It's not me. It's not me. And I can say it's not a burden till you say you want to die. My hands turn blue, you send chills down my spine. Gray mornings turn to gold. What a precious thing to fade. There is color in your eyes, and I'd like to see it stay. Gray